What is up? It's a figure hunter. Happy Black Friday. This is a review for the CardioMood Wellness Tracker. Now that's my own wellness tracker. That's my own title because I believe this is truly a wellness tracker that has all the same stats as the Whoop devices that many people are very familiar with, but just doesn't have all of the same workout analysis or evaluation details that the Whoop has. So if you like this review, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. So a reason I wanted to get this out for today is that they have a 30% off, and I'm not affiliated with Cardio Whoop. They did send me to test this. I had to sign something to say I'm going to send it back. They're not going to see the content in this video, but this 30% off your initial purchase, which is buying a bulk of your subscription. So that's actually a really big discount. So we're going to look at the device and the accessories that come with it briefly, as well as look at the app, because that is the bread and butter. The device is really just basic and simple. But the main thing is the wellness features that it provides. So normally, if you pay for 2 years in advance, it's like $12 US dollars a month. It first comes out in pounds. And then if you pay for 6 months in advance, it's $24 a month. Now that's a little bit higher price because it's getting too close to Whoop, and Whoop does provide broader analysis. But with 30% off, you're looking at, if you just pay for 1 year at a time, $12.58 on your average monthly cost, although you're paying it in a lump sum for a device that provides about 60% of what Whoop does. So I think that is a legitimate offering. So we're going to talk about this. Now, what is this a device good for in simple terms? Well, it's obviously good for those that want to track their wellness, their sleep, their HRV, their temperature, their respiration rate. So it gives you a full suite summary in the morning, as well as it converts your HRV score to a readiness score. We'll see all that, but the reason this is actually prevalent or important when it comes to tracking your overall wellness is that a lot of people still like to wear a regular analog watch. So this is a great solution for people that still want to wear a regular watch and then have another device that has sort of an attractive look to it, that's easy to swap out of bands, that will give you all the wellness information and can also track some basic workout stats. So with that, let's dive in to look at it hands-on and look at the app and then come back together and talk about it. All right, so what you have here is the basic setup. So this is the typical band. It's just sort of a latex band. It's actually got a pretty good stretch to it that comes with it. And this is one of the style bands that you can get as an accessory. It adds a little touch and a special sort of look to it. This is the bicep band. It's actually not the best design. You basically have to push it over like that, and it makes it really hard to actually get it on your bicep, but it works fine once you kind of finagle your way onto it. And then this is the device, and it is as simple as it can get. The charging connection, basically just these little 2 pins on the side, and then it snaps on, and it gives you like a flashing light when it is charging. But a simple button, just basically gives, so I don't even know exactly what all the button does, but the sensors are all built in here. Obviously you can see the heart rate sensor going, but the cool thing about the whole sensor is that it just sort of slides out. And so you can actually get Barton bands or any small, I think it's 20 millimeter bands, and they just slide in and out. So you can like change up your accessories because it has a really good form factor. Like, see how easy that slid in there? The only downside with it is that it feels a little plasticky. So it doesn't, coming from the Whoop device, that felt more metal and solid and firm. This just feels a little bit more plasticky in the hands, and it's just a simple device, but it has been tested and tested and tested and tested and tested. So it is a simple, capable device, fully water resistant to 30 or 50 meters, but you can go swimming in the pool. That's no problem. Obviously we're in showers, but once you have it on, you don't even see the plasticky side. So it's somewhat of a moot point, but when you feel it in your hands, just the feel of it just feels not as durable or high quality as the Whoop. But then it just straps on. And this is how it looks on my 176 millimeter wrist. So I was wearing an extra band here, extra watch, so you can see the red signs. But just clean and simple. And this is how it looks with the traditional rubber band that it comes with, just the basic silicone latex band. Just, really minimal. It's ultra light. It's really comfortable. I probably like this a lot better as far as the overall comfort because this has a little bit more thickness to it, but really simple design. All right, so this is how it's going to look when you go to the main landing page. I really like that it just gives you the full straight line information. When you first wake up in the morning, you probably won't see the readiness and the sleep score. So sleep score is just based on a percentage of what you set your goal to be. So if I set my goal to be 7 hours and I got like 6 hours and 55 minutes last night, and that's why it says 97%. So the readiness is really the estimate based on last night's heart rate variability reading relative to past nights, your average over a long period of time. But I just like that it has all the summary of all the primary health components that you would get from Whoop, and that I've really grown to appreciate. So you have the resting heart rate, whether that's up or down from a previous average, temperature, respiration, and heart rate variability, just the raw number for the heart rate variability. But you can see a lot in all these things, whether it's a percentage change in heart rate variability, when you have sickness. This is what would predict if you have a sickness, as well as what would predict when your sickness goes away. So when you go into the sleep, now they did a big lab study, and the algorithm for this device was actually through a lab, and there's white papers on the CardioMood website about, I think, Philip's sleep study, and Philip's sleep algorithm is what's driving the content behind the device itself. The device is just there to share that genius with the world. I haven't been able to test, or don't have the capability to test this as far as the lab is concerned, but it does have a high level of accuracy when it comes to the sleep stages. So you get the duration details there, you get the score tendencies there, but the biggest thing is just see how much time you got in REM and how much time you got in deep sleep over the last night. And the hope would be is that that's accurate. So if you look at readiness, here's the readiness score. It's just going to give you the simple hard facts of what your heart rate variability was throughout the night, as well as your average. Then you can see your trends over time. So this was a long, tough week, and you could see that I had a good night's sleep plus good heart rate variability over the last night of sleep, but I was beaten down. So that was a bummer. You can see your dot line trends and then a dot line stress score. I don't know what these HRV parameters are defined by. It's just more of that lab stuff that they actually just provide for the user to appreciate in the website. When you go to the landing page, you just look at just the basics. It just gives you this. This is really what I look at. This is the core aspects. You go into sleep and you go into the readiness, and you just, those are the facts of what you look at. You can see other information. We'll look at workouts in a second. I haven't been wearing this during the day because I've been testing multiple devices, but you can get your average heart rate across the day, your steps. It's basic, simple, general stuff. So this landing page, this first page as well, give you the actual hardcore detail of, temperature over different periods of time, body temperature deviation, and then basically gives you a quote a day, always just something different on a quote side. The thing that is lacking is what the workouts display. So the workouts themselves, they have a cool picture, and you basically, start and stop the workout from the app, and it pulls the heart rate from the device itself. So it just shows you your heart rate graph, and it shows you, the heart rate average. So you can see, all the basics you would want to see in some of this zone training. So you can see how much time you spent in different zones, but it doesn't give you any rigor evaluation or any exertion score or anything like that. So that's what's really kind of missing, is that this is sort of like a one-dimensional, this is sort of an old school, doesn't provide as much, or to me, any value on the workout side of things. So it's really all about the sleep score. One thing that was just neat when I went through the setup is that it asks you what your skin type is, because it'll change the reading. These are both your hair density and your skin type. So you can see there's just a bunch of different skin type options, so that it can actually, where you're at on the hair density aspect, so that it's going to push out more light, or maybe doesn't need to push out as much light. It did have one update that was fine. Everything worked fine there. It did give me a lot of alerts if it was getting low on battery, and it has lasted about 6 days. So the setup is great. I just feel like, in simple terms, the website is just a little bit simple, especially when coming from a device like Whoop. It's sort of one-dimensional, although it's three-dimensional when it comes to wellness and sleep score and recovery, because of the detail of the algorithm behind the sleep analysis, as well as the heart rate variability and the trends and recovery aspects there. So that is the app. Let's talk inside.
So what do I think all around? I'll tell you out of the gate, I think at 30% off, it's actually a legitimate deal. It is actually worthwhile. If it wasn't 30% off, I would say it doesn't yet have what it needs to have to compete with Whoop.
So it is excellent all around in its basic stats. You know, it's excellent all around in the HRV, which converts to readiness, and seeing your respiration rate, your temperature changes overnight, your resting heart rate changes overnight, as well as your quality of sleep. And it is using a good algorithm as far as sort of a lab-based algorithm when it calculates the sleep. But when you look at the app just isn't as polished as the Whoop app, and it doesn't have any training specifics when it comes to like an exertion score that would be purposeful for a true all-in-one device. Now, they are yet to, or are working on getting a training load tracking, and they're specifically going to use the TRIMP score, which is just basically an evaluation of the exertion level of a workout relative to past workouts and trends over time, and that's going to make it really interesting. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they do that, but at $12.48 per month, or I think it was like $15 or $16 with 30% off if you're just buying the 6 months up front, I think that is actually a legitimate deal. So that is it. That is the CardioMood Wellness Tracker. And this is the Fit Gear Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.